This paper that you provided, is that what's left or is that what we spent?
That is what we've spent,
Okay.
and I just received bills from secondary roads. And then we also owe ARCA search $116,695. So total with secondary roads and what we still owe is $230,966.66. Which if you add that to the paper I gave you, comes up to $996,781.55.
Yeah, but
What has been spent and is outstanding,
What was that again? 900.
$996,781.55.
Thank you. Thanks.
but you already have the second line down, the plat books at 116,000.
That was a half.
Half a payment, okay,
half
okay, I
payment,
get it.
yep,
So we're gonna add another half a payment in,
correct.
116,695. And
And
what was the other one?
secondary roads.
How much?
Is 114,272. 114,272. That's outstanding.
Okay, is that it?
Yes,
Okay.
when I spoke to the treasurer yesterday. Our balance. In the account is. $802,487.06. But we have to take out that 239,66.66 number that I just gave you.
5.
So 571. 520.40 is what is left.
Give me that number one more time.
571,000.
Yeah,
520.40.
got it.
And out of that, I think is still owed.
We probably still,
Like the complex, because I'm sorry,
we probably owe for painting and,
yeah, and
Oh.
Evolve, because we have not paid, we've only paid half of theirs, so they have other money to submit to us. So we have outstanding amounts from them.
Can we, is you got accessibility to get that 1%? Total what we have in there too, because we can also pay from that one. Because it was allocated for, we got an ambulance coming up, we gotta pay for. And we got,
What's the
this building could
1%?
come out of that 1% also, so.
So of the roof part, you mean?
Yeah, both of it could come out of that 1% because it was allocated for ambulance.
Depends on how much
And
is in the account.
That's what I want to kind of find out, that we can provide that.
but right now, that's quick confusion. We got 571,000 in the account.
520,
But we gotta finish paying Evolve
Mhm.
for the windows and for what's going on. Probably 150,000 left out at the jail.
Correct.
And then we're putting bids out on the roof.
Mhm.
And that's where I want to, because we do have that 1%. If we had that, then we would know what we have left in all these accounts.
I think that ambulance is due in October.
And that was 268.
I think it went to 270-ish. Something
So
like
between
that.
the ambulance and the roof, we could eat up the money.
It's about gone.
But we have that
But we
1%.
still got our, yeah,
Yeah,
That's why I need to know that account.
well, that's where we need to get.
Because the ambulance should come out of that account, that 1%.
Out of this local option,
Yes,
yes. Yep.
it should come out of that. That's what that was gonna say.
Right, but it was about.
I was thinking we almost had 600,000. And that's why I wanted to kind of see how close that was.
has that account been dipped into?
No,
No, not since it's been established.
not to my knowledge.
The lost money, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, since we made it for ambulance,
I believe so.
have
Yeah.
you used it for ambulance?
Um,
Probably not.
I'd have to,
Put
look.
the-
We had a transfer.
We put the lower windows in, say, a year or two ago.
Before it went to vote?
Yeah. But we could still, the vote didn't change nothing, we could.
No, but we just changed our allocations, that we limited what we could use that money for. It did have a phrase at the bottom, or what we deemed necessary.
Legally.
Yes, but
Some counties lost money goes to the secondary roads to
Yeah,
pave 10 miles, yeah,
right.
they had to get it. For the voters' approval, they had to throw
Yeah.
sorry to have you do that, but
No.
if we had
no.
that number, that would help us know where we're at.
Well, we also have.
We have a
I found
our money.
the tribal.
I'm trying to work on bid packages for the concrete work out there. So I don't know,
Well, we do have
that
the
obviously.
county home sale money also to an account. That's approximately $272,000 that's in that county home sale. It was. We loaned money out on it, so we're getting that money that we got payment,
We keep-
4,000 went to that.
using it to get projects started and then putting them back with lost money.
There's a little
Uh,
nest
the-
egg kind of.
We've been protecting
For
it
emergencies.
the whole 16 years I've been here. It was used to, like for the architect for the jail and design and
Can you
we put it back. It's, we usually try to keep it right at the 300,000.
All right.
It's, if something happens in the county, we need quick, that's where we pull from.
Our emergency fund, or Randy always liked to use the word slush fund.
Yeah, that's not.
Well, we do have the local assistance and tribal consistency fund. We have received 50,000 of that, and we are to receive 50,000 this fiscal year, but that has been allocated for the rewiring down in the basement of the courthouse and moving the
Box.
box.
Yep.
So that money is allocated to that.
Yep. So it looks like we're running out of parking money.
Yeah, the electrical power grid in the basement of the courthouse, that's what that 100,000 is
Mhm.
to go.
There's 100,000 in there right now.
No, there's 50,000. We will receive the other 50,000 in this fiscal year, and I don't know that we have a date of when that will come.
So we should have 100.
Yes. Yep.
Hey, this is a big change of subject, but the guy that's interested in the old jail did call me and I told him to get a hold of you and Tracy and get a
Yeah.
key and go look at it.
Yes, and he did. Tracy called me Sunday. They made an appointment to go look at it Sunday. The guy works out of state through the week. And Tracy said, nice couple, very, very interested in it. And Tracy was, I believe, going to call Chris back to let him know.
Okay, we know it connected.
No. So they're very, very interested in starting a business there.
And there's somebody else that wants to release it.
No, we ain't gonna lease it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
It'll just sell.
And
it.
these
Get rid of it.
two are a local couple. I don't know.
They live here in town, but he works out of state.
Yeah.
And what was
he works
they
in-
used for?
They had talked about a haunted museum, but Tracy said there were other things I think they were thinking of.
Or,
What's the city has that zone as business?
Right, government.
It was, I remember at the time it was zoned that it couldn't be made into an apartment.
Apartments, okay.
And that's all I know
I'm
about.
all for the business side. I don't wanna see apartments there, but I'm all for the business side. Get it back on the tax roll.
Mhm.
Won't benefit us necessarily to sell well, but the property tax will benefit the city.
Maybe have to work with him on parking.
It depends on how many people show up to the museum.
Well,
If the museum is only open on Saturday and Sundays, then
we're
the
good.
problem's fixed.
Well, and I think maybe it's something. Maybe we could put them on an agenda to talk about, maybe.
I'd like to know what their intent with the
Yeah.
building is.
Yeah,
Yes. And let them know that we don't wanna see a, big apartment complex there.
oh yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
believe that's not what their intent was, they were wanting to do a business, so.
Well, you might be able to control the first person, but if you resell, you can't control the next person, but zoning would control that.
Well,
So-
and that's what their concern was with it being so close to this annex.
Yeah.
Cause that would be a city zoning
It's too close.
issue they would have to look into.
Yeah, I'd be interested to talk to them, see what's going on.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, how much was your new ambulance gonna cost?
Okay,
Put
here's
270 down, it's somewhere in that range.
Vicky sent over that. In the fund for loss is. 1,067,674.58. And the expenses are 195,532.
Off of that number.
Yeah,
I knew-
well, no, that's the balance, I gave you the balance.
Okay, with that,
And the-
expenses already taken off.
Yeah, already taken away.
That helps a little bit.
That's where I said, we have that money there that we could use that for a roof, like it's designed for, and the ambulance. And then use this ARPA money for other events, but, the ambulance definitely should come out of this account.
Let's go back to what spurred this whole thing, and that's the fiber optic. Let's.
And the 250 was just a number they threw out, and then Chris asked that question today, so we could give out a number, it sounds like 50 or 60 for equipment.
I'm ready to give him $500 if we quit showing up. We give him something.
Well, I want it to mean something, if it don't mean nothing, I don't wanna give them a penny, but if we don't, I wanna give them what we can do to make our county more communicable with the outside world.
I do
How
too.
much was it gonna cost to get fiber optic to the courthouse?
$4,900.
To 7,500.
Just, yeah, it could.
It was no problem,
75.
but there's already fiber to the building that we put in, and it's, I know where it's at, there's a, right by the sidewalk, they can get into that and hook. This communication here and hook into it, so we know we have new fiber trunk going into the courthouse and over to here, we put it in. So their problem is just getting it to that, so I just don't see any problem, and we spent the money to bore it all in, so it's brand new, we just did it 3 years ago. To see, that's where I thought we was on it, but I forgot, we can't hook to that. That's the state's. DOT is the only way to hook to it.
Well, and here I found something. Eligible costs for the ARPA money is. The projects had to be already in place before March 3rd of 2021. And if ARPA money was going to be used, it says, provided that the project costs covered by the ARPA award funds were incurred after March 3rd. So we would have had to have the project already in place before March 3rd, 2021.
What's the
We
date?
didn't even know if we was gonna get the other half of it.
I know. And that includes investments in water, sewer, and broadband. And it says
Broadband's towers, not fiber.
yeah, any funds not
Well, and I
obligated
don't-
or
fiber is the right way to go.
Well, fiber is the best way to go, but it's, I don't know what, you know. Are we on a coffee diet or are we on a champagne diet? You know what I'm saying? We gotta look at what's the biggest bang for the amount of money we put in. And I don't wanna put amount in that don't give us a bang. And if we don't, if it's 50,000, what they need to do to get it in there, and then 50,000, 5,000 is not gonna give us a bang. That's donating money to a business that's not gonna do anything with. But we need to find out what we can do for the biggest bang for that project to get it kicked off, to get our taxpayers a better communication service.
I wanted the board to be prepared though, that if we do this, you've set a precedence, so then when they go decide to do Columbus Junction, they come back in here and say, well. You guys gave us 100,000 to do Wapello and it was only $290,000 job. This one's gonna be a $500,000 job, so we think we need to get $250,000.
If we're able to.
We're setting a precedence. I just want to make sure. Whether we're all here then or not.
Yeah.
For us or the next board, that they're not the bad guys when they say no, we can't afford to do it. Cause they're doing that now. They're saying, well, all the other counties are doing this, and if you don't, I mean, not saying it, but implying it that. You know,
Well, and that's why originally we got the bids to hit the surrounding towns, for the Columbus Junction Library, and was to put it in and what was included, it's in all three of them. But they just said today that
it's
it
a
would
waste of time.
$6 million to get Columbus Junction started.
Yeah, it's a waste of time to just do to the libraries too, it seems like to me, because you can't.
Yeah.
You're just running a line to Columbus Junction to serve the library. Well, then if you get the fiber optic, it's junk anyway.
See, when we had the group in here, and that's where I'm just bringing you up and not trying to sell it, but when we had the library, which we meet with every November. The internet was their biggest failure to properly operate the libraries with the computer systems they had. So that's where it came from, the height of the COVID, was get it to our libraries, that way the people can meet, the kids can go on here and use it. That was the reason why the libraries were targeted, Sean.
That's fine. And I also, and the other part of it is also, I don't want to hear. That we're putting Wapello first, because we're all quote unquote Wapello residents. I don't want that.
Well, what would it be to buy the equipment to get started for Columbus Junction, just like we would do here, it's 50,000 to buy this, because there's right underneath the viaduct is where there's internet fiber. The biggest cost,
Provides it there.
it's part of that hub that they're into, it's a lease line that they get into.
The way I took it is there's nothing.
No,
Yeah.
there is, it's right there outside there, and the biggest cost is the DOT permits for drilling under the Highway 61 to get to that, because the viaduct, everything's up on a bluff, that was a huge cost, because you had to, it's like working with the railroad with DOT, there has to be
I mean, 92.
92,
Yeah.
I said 61,
Yeah.
92. Is to get through that, because the library is right next to it, and it's, way I understand it is, it's over by the fairgrounds. Fiber is located at the fairground area. And we can call them just to confirm that, but it's in town, but it's at the fairgrounds, right outside the area. There's a communication hub, just, see, we have three of them in Wapello. We have one over by the old PMP. One just down from you, Sean. It's right on the road. That's another fiber hub, and the other one is on.
Over by Moore's, I think.
But last week, they said they had 16 of them in Wapello.
Well, the three that
They've got it marked on this little map right
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
but that's where they're gonna pull off, and there's one right next to the courthouse here.
I mean, I want to see it happen too. I'm just, and if we're gonna use it, I guess I'd rather use federal funds than
Yeah.
local funds, but. Money's money and it's all getting allocated to our area anyway, so I mean, you're kind of. Taking from one to feed another one, and
But we have to have it spent by next year.
well, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that.
Mhm.
No, we've been doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Well, and we still got projects that we talked about during budget, like cement out here at the food pantry. And you're looking at bids right now for the jail sidewalk or between the building and to put in some electricity hubs there. And then we're still looking at we've just mentioned here lately, the public health parking lot, extending it.
Yeah.
To the south.
Not gonna take long.
You know, there's another 250. But it may have to happen over time with
Yeah.
our lost money.
Right.
And then we've always talked about a maintenance shed for our. Out here, which is, 50,000. So I don't think we're having trouble spending it.
No, but there's sometimes we have to say that we can't do it.
Is 50 grand gonna make them start putting fiber optic in or?
He just threw that number out to buy the equipment.
Yeah.
I heard that
So
number
they can
come
do it
out.
themselves?
Well, 30 to 50. I've heard that number 3 or 4 times in these meetings.
Yeah,
So it might be.
and then we ought to ask a question, because I agree with you, and that's why I got all the 3 communities. The outside of the area, I mean, we miss Grandview and stuff like that, but I figured it's by Elm School, we can get it to Grandview. What would it take to get a good start, to buy the equipment to able to start for the community of Plymouth Junction? And
Why wouldn't they use the same equipment?
Huh?
Why wouldn't they use the same equipment?
because it's at each way. I understand.
Oh, I'm thinking like tractors equipment. You're talking about boxes and.
Yeah.
Spools of.
Be able to
fiber
read
optic
through
or-
fiber.
I get it.
Start boring.
Yeah. It's the fiber read.
I'm thinking, gee, how many tractors are we gonna, boring machines?
Oh, no. No, this is equipment where they can shine the light down the tube. We have it in town. Our banks have fiber. Our school has fiber. There is some businesses that have fiber because they're on that.
It's crucial to their
It is.
bank security.
And we all know yesterday morning, the internet went down for the community and how big it was. Monday morning, we was without internet in the whole town.
In Waffle,
Mhm.
we had it at the courthouse.
But you're on a different type of internet. The fiber system is down.
Didn't change my world. Didn't it? It didn't change my world. Did it? Well, are we about, I think we,
Well, I think what we need to do is out of this meeting, since we're having it, I don't want to keep having them if it don't mean something, but I think what we need to do is designate that 1%. The hamlets come out of that. Maybe for the roof, that'll come out at 1%.
That'll take about half of it.
250 plus, yeah, you're about
About
500,000.
half.
But that's what that is for, so we can designate them 2 things come out of that, so we can take that off of our list. And then see what they have to make a start, to make a difference for Wapello, and what would it take for a good start for Plymouth Junction, that way we have that equal amount out for the 2 big communities.
Well, they're gonna take everything you'll give them.
Well, what, they said 50,000, and that's what, can 50,000 do the same thing over to the start?
290.
to do the.
252. So that's. About 25%.
Can we do the roof? Oh, are you talking about the roof of the complex? And that can come out of that?
Yeah.
Lost money?
Yeah, the lost money was for building repair
Okay,
and ambulance services and anything else that we deemed that would be necessary to use the fund. That's what we,
About 20.
I have it
Like it's even on libraries, you see part of it.
Right. It's on, the actual is for funding for ambulances and emergency response equipment, improvement, maintenance, and repair to county buildings and any other lawful purpose of the county as determined from the time to time from the board of supervisors and lawful person of the county to determine at the time by time from the board of supervisors. And that's what we put in, that's the official.
that I just wasn't.
So 50 grand is roughly 20%, 25% is 63,000. And they sat there and said between 20 and 30% of your lost funds, which ends up being 500,000. 25% of their estimate is 63,000. You're just gonna fund that project. So, instead of,
I think we find out what it takes to buy that equipment and stay consistent with consumption and put the percentages out. That's just something they wished that we could do. And sometimes part of our job is, and I feel good about this project because I think it's gonna make our community better. All of our communities in the county, but I think we have to limit the amount of money we put out there and make sure we're doing the best thing for the buck. But we gotta sometimes say no to the project. Not everything's a yes, and that's what we get paid the big money for, is say no once in a while, if it's not something we have money for. We're not an endless funded account. I mean, once we get through this COVID money.
we're not a bank.
No.
Well, that's kind of what they're asking us to be here, is what I don't like. Why didn't the government set it up?
Well, the whole
Did
thing,
they-
was
The Arca deal was
And give it to them directly.
so much of this COVID money went for silly things that did not go right. And
Right.
This whole thing is messed up.
Did
But we
they
have
not
to.
get their own, that like businesses were able to apply for ARPA funds too.
probably got, because of. They had payroll, but they got, they got it, yeah.
I can look at that.
That's what did here.
Did they get fiber optic in their town?
They got it right.
Okay,
Well, it's a lot easier to do it right when you're in your own town.
yeah.
I mean, they're right smack dab in the middle of it, so.
But I think the question, and I
I'd
think
give them money if they give a share, the county, the taxpayer shares in their company.
Well, that's what have.
That's what they're asking.
well, we are getting shares. Our stockholders or people of our community are getting what they
Well, if we got,
don't want internet.
if we got shares, the whole county would get fractions of a cent of good out of it.
Can I get money to open a grocery store?
Sure. Money available to do it.
I just thought, like Al Rusky says, if you'd build me a bigger hardware store, I can stock more stuff. I mean, this one's kind of a hard, they're asking us to be a bank and I don't like it.
That's
I
why I
know.
use the gym analogy. That's one thing I could come up with. Hey, help me build a bigger gym. I can get more people in there.
This is federal
For
money
us
to
employees.
use the betterment of our.
Sorry. I didn't mean it.
It's not our tax money. It's money handed down by the federal government to use for internet and other options. You read it.
Well, but I
So
wish,
it's not, it's, we gotta, what's best for our community? And hanging on to it is definitely not the best for our community.
no,
I'm not hanging on.
we've got our spent this.
Yeah. It's
What
just,
I was afraid of.
and everything you spend it on now has been governmental buildings and property and.
It's been a big relief.
This is, you're handing it to,
Well, we got
Private
windows, we
business.
haven't even went out for bid.
Yeah. But. We've gotta make our internet better. And it is our responsibility to make it better. If we can't make our community better, then we need to get through new supervisors. Because this money has to be spent to better our community. We've been using it to Band-Aid stuff that we've been putting off for years to get our buildings up. And I know it's appreciated because I hear compliments on the courthouse, how well it looks. But we got to put some money back into our community we always complain that our communities get smaller. Well, this is one thing to maybe turn that around. We dropped 587 people in 10 years. If we don't do nothing, do we expect anything to change? But if we change something, maybe we could see a change. And sometimes we have to jump off that cliff and see what helps.
Yeah, but if you look at our county demographics, what's our average age?
Yeah, but
About 70.
But I needed that at 62.
But the young kids want the internet.
I know, we might keep, look at, I'm of a generation.
Because they
They all work out.
can't even get online and do anything.
Brad and I are of a generation, our kids all ended up everywhere but around here. And fiber might be a way to keep a few.
You know what they say? Dad, I know what you have out there in the country. You don't have internet. You got to use satellite. We gotta do something different, or how can we expect to change it?
I think the federal government allocated this money down to you guys, because you guys are gonna spend it better than what they could spend it.
Yeah, but
And you're still debating whether this project is viable. But I think it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
And
But, okay, but in a rural area, are we doing it right? Should we be doing it with towers instead of fiber?
I don't know.
I mean, here's a whole area we don't know nothing.
I'm less than a half mile from the tower. It's at the end of my main road and I can't get it.
Oh, are they even turned
They
on?
got this thing called out.
I've heard they're not even, these Windstream towers aren't even powered up yet.
They're turned on, but if you have a tree in the front yard, you can't get it.
No,
It's line of sight.
I
And
don't,
out in the country, we have trees.
I'm
but-
not, for me, it's not a question of whether or not the project's needed. For me, it's the perception of people in the county using money to benefit federal money to benefit a specific business. That's where I see it.
How's the federal government, I'm gonna do an argument back on that. How's it, if they allocated that as one of the things that we can spend it on? Is the county gonna get into
MC,
fiber internet?
like Minneapolis.
So it has to go to a
municipality owned. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's governmental owned.
And the biggest argument
But
I
you can make that same argument with the concrete you poured out here, because you had to hire a contractor to pour the cement.
yeah,
You had to hire a contractor to bring the cement. It's money spent back in the county,
and it's a county business.
it's a county business.
Are bids gonna need to go out? I mean, technically, there's,
$6,000.
we have to send bids out. Were bids all done on all this work?
Yes,
That's a good point, Selena.
but we can.
But you're not funding the whole thing.
We're just buying equipment. I don't know. My vote is to see what the amount is for the biggest bang for the buck, and I don't want to see percentages. If it's 50,000 they brought in here or whatever, give us exact numbers. And what would it take to the community of another community to get the same allotment? To give them a start to go with. And then we go on to something else.
Doesn't hurt to get the numbers.
No.
That's fine.
And then we can do the bidding process,
Yeah.
if that's what's required, I don't care, but I just wanna get something out there so we can better communications for the county. That's my Brad Bridges.
All right.
Well, with that, I think we are ready to probably, put a work session or a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Okay, all in favor, say, let's get out of here.
I don't think that's constructive, we do stuff like this, we have to do more of it, we can't talk amongst ourselves, it has to be out and open, so.
That's why there's 3 of us here.
We need to do this more often.